Hey guys, it's me Feliciel, and this week I'm back with a sketchbook tour. So I'm really excited because this time I have upgraded the quality of my sketchbook tours since I have my nice big camera for my face, where you're seeing me right now, and I am now using my smaller G7X for filming the top shots, so it won't be the phone quality anymore, which is very exciting. Also, I hope you won't mind too much the cat noises and stuff like that because she wants to be in the video. So I don't really want to talk too much, and let's just hop right in. So this sketchbook is a A4 pretty big sketchbook, as you can see, by Art Creation. So it's actually the second time recently that I'm getting an A4 size sketchbook, and it's because I've really liked the way that you can have fun putting things on the page and have like a bunch of little doodles all going in together. And actually, little sneak peek, my latest one that I'm using right now, look at me, I'm matching with my sketchbook, is also an A4 size, but this time it went for the brand Moleskine to upgrade a bit the quality. So that was for the information of this sketchbook. So this was actually my second sketchbook I was using for art school. So if I open it up, we can see that it's from October 2020 to December 2020. I filled it up quite quickly, but there's a lot of blank pages, and I'll explain why. So yeah, as always, I put the date on the first page. I find it really important to date my sketchbooks because I really like coming back to them later on and seeing my evolution, and it's actually really motivating. And then I just wrote sketchbook and my old Instagram handle. Now it's like Feliciel_ink, but anyways. And directly when you dive into the sketchbook, you can realize I've actually used this for my Inktober challenge. So this was for day 1, Samurai, and it was actually in my class that we decided to all put random suggestions for our Inktober, and we all did them together. I didn't go very far into the challenge, but it was still quite fun, and the thing is just I did not have physically the time because our school was so intense. So yeah, we have day 1 Samurai with, I think I used a micron for the outline and a brush pen for the coloring it in, I guess. Then we have entropy. I had no clue what it meant, so I googled it and was like, what? Okay Google, what is the definition of entropy?
Entropy has 3 different meanings. Starting with the most common one, entropy can be used as a noun to mean a thermodynamic quantity representing the unavailability of a system's thermal energy for conversion into mechanical work, often interpreted as the degree of disorder or randomness in the system. Is that the meaning you were looking for?
So that was the definition that I found. And so I decided like, okay, let's go on the whole idea of randomness and stuff like that. And it was just very confusing to do because I did not know what it was supposed to be. And to do this, I used my brush pen for the outlines and did a gray wash, I think, with some ink. Then for day 3, we had museum object, so I decided to do a statue and have fun with like working on the values, which was actually pretty fun. I'm not a huge fan of how I inked it with a ballpoint pen in the end, but you know, we learn from our mistakes. Then we have a mystical creature, not mythical, and I wanted to do a jackalope because I love jackalopes, but that one looks kind of weird, like he has a huge head and like ears and a tiny body. Then we have day 5, Dark Souls. I'm actually really proud of that one, and I don't know if you can see, but all of these, even in the past ones, I did the sketching in a red Prismacolor pen called Erase. Then we have Night, where I just wanted to draw a little girl in a tent, like in a kind of like night fort, with her teddy bears and reading a book, but not a huge fan of how it turned out as well, but it's okay. And then we're getting into the part where I was getting lazy, so I didn't want to finish them. So I think this was supposed to be waterfall, and I was actually pretty proud of my sketch. Sorry, my cat is just wanting attention. Then on this day we had Pokemon, so I decided to draw a Mimikyu because cutest Pokemon ever. There's no debating there. I haven't played a lot Pokemon, but I did a little bit when I was a kid on the DS. And one day I stumbled online upon this character when I was like googling random Pokemon stuff. And I was like, oh my god, that's so cute. So I wanted to draw that one. Then here we had an Egyptian goddess, I believe. So on that day we had to draw an Egyptian goddess, so I went to draw Bastet, which is like a cat goddess in Egyptian mythology. And this time I believe I used only the brush pen. So then I didn't want to do that day, or I didn't have time, or I wasn't inspired, I'm guessing, so blank page. Then on that day somebody submitted as an idea, so we all had to do it, a Chinese fisherman, which is original. I'm pretty happy with the whole like dynamic of this, where there's his pose and the like fishing line following his movement. So I'm pretty proud of it. Then we had to draw a cactus, so I decided to do a little cactus in a pot with in the pot written "free hugs," because cacti need affection too. And then on this day we had to draw some steampunk gentlemen, I believe, or something in the line. So I did the concept and never finished it, but I should go back into it and finish it one day. Then on this day I honestly have no clue what the theme was, but I decided to draw a girl that was being held by this invisible man, I believe, or not yet done. We shall never know. It shall be a mystery. And then nothing, and then nothing, and nothing, and nothing, and nothing. So that's when I stopped doing the Inktober, because I didn't have time anymore, nor really the motivation, to be honest. So it ended here. So then we arrive here. I was drawing this at the same time as the Inktober, so it's not necessarily like after the whole Inktober thing, but more like in parallel I was also drawing these pages. So I believe that at the time at school I was studying anatomy, and you'll be able to see that in the following pages. So on this first page we see a jackrabbit, because I was actually studying for the Jackalope Inktober one. I really like their heads, especially like this one. I find it very like expressive, because I'm used to drawing like rabbits basically, but jackrabbits have a very different physique. So I wanted to practice that, and they were really fun to draw. And then on this page you can see just a bunch of random portraits, with here ballpoint pen, brush pen, micron, and I think ballpoint pen as well. You'll see that I get better in portraits later on. So this was my first spread of anatomy, so I was trying to practice drawing feet. I think I did these alone without like having done the class yet, so that's why there was some mistakes, but I think that overall it's pretty good, like for somebody that's never practiced drawing feet before. Then I did some torsos, so we have some females over here and here, and then some males on this side. I had a lot more fun drawing the female torsos than the males, because I don't know, there's more curves and it's more fun. Then I did a bit of arms. Those are very wrong. This is super bulky, this is also pretty bulky, and they just don't look well. But once again, it'll get better once I actually do the class. Here I believe we were doing some still life, and this was a practice of the still life, where I just wanted to draw my glasses that were just laying on my table. So that's what I did, and I'm honestly pretty proud of them. I kind of like this look of like seeing the behind, where you can see the lines of the perspective being stretched out, and how I actually constructed shape by shape with the perspective for the glasses. So this was a random guy that was sitting in front of me during class, so I decided to draw him. Then I wanted to do some random person, which I honestly was pretty proud of it, but people were like, it's not dynamic and it's trash, and so I was sad. So that's what's written there. But yeah, my art school experience. So then was actually when we started doing anatomy classes. We started off by doing a skeleton with the 8 size of heads to have the perfect skeleton. And then on this side we added the muscles. It is a very simplified version of it, of course. And then we did some arcs to see how long the arm should be. So these were gesture drawings done in 60 seconds, so 1 minute basically. This was before I understood what my teacher was trying to tell me, that I should exaggerate it. And that's what actually I wrote here, more exaggeration. Because they were still pretty stiff, not dynamic enough, and when you're doing gesture, it's kind of what you're looking for, is some dynamic poses. So then we moved on to 120 seconds, so that's 2 minutes, where this time I feel like I'm getting more the idea of the movement and everything, but I was being told that my heads were being too big, which was my eternal problem. And I know that even before going to art school, my main issue was making heads that were too big, basically. My favorites of this spread is actually this one and this one, because on this one the body has a bit more fat, and I feel like I managed to get more of an idea of the sense of the weight distributed on the body, where you can see he's really leaning on one side and putting his weight on one leg and the one behind and all that, so that's very fun. Then we did a JoJo pose, some more figure drawing. I don't have the timing for this, but I'm guessing it was like 1 minute. More poses. This one was actually very fun to draw. And then actually that's when we finally started to see how do we like simplify the torso and the waist. So we started off with an egg shape, and we also tried with a cylinder and box. But I personally prefer the egg shape. I find it much closer to reality. And then we tried applying it to see how we could use it in a body. Then we started adding some muscles to it. So first of all, we started adding the line of abs that links the torso to the waist. And then we saw how we can also link the sides of it, and that if it's a little bit squished, it can also be a bit deformed, because you know it won't be one really nice line, because there's the weight that should be distributed and the extra skin that has to like basically fold over in a way. Then over here we started adding the muscles of like the pecs and all that, so that's what we were doing over here, and how it links to the arm and moves with your arm. Over here we did some studies to see the muscles of the neck as well, and once again how it changes with how you move and how it's all linked. And then we went back to some gesture drawing. So then we have some more skeleton studies with the shoulder blades and whatnot, and then we refined the torso and continued seeing how the front of the neck works. So then moving on to the arm and how the muscles work together, with like if you flex your arm versus when you don't and you relax it and all that. Some more gesture drawing, more arm studies, more gesture drawing, and here comes the hands. So I've always had a complicated relationship with hands. Sometimes I find them really nice to do and not too hard, and other times I cry. I've tried so many different techniques to try and understand how hands work and how I can easily draw them, but honestly I still haven't found the one that works nicely with me. So I still need to practice a lot for hands, because oh boy, it's still so tricky. And then we went back to some gesture drawing. Here I was told, because I did a little note, that I need to do more cylinders and like work more on the original shape of the body. I actually liked this one that I did, but apparently it was wrong, so then we did some more. And actually on these one, what we were doing was actually show the angles of each body part. So here we could see that the leg is going forward because of those little circles over here, and then it goes back down. And this actually really helps a lot to make a sketch more clear. Then I wanted to do a little watercolor break because I was tired of this. It was still some gesture drawing, I guess, because I took like random images on Google and decided to get their position right and shape and all that. I really like the one eating noodles. I find her very fun. But as you can see, my sketchbook did not take well watercolors, so I didn't do too much after. Then we did some booty. So we also saw then the muscles of the leg and whatnot. And we actually studied how the male booty was different to the female butt, because there's a lot more muscle and angles, and whereas the female butt is more like round and cheeky, I guess. Then I did one last pass of some legs, and then we started to study animal anatomy very quickly. So I tried to do a fox, wasn't too happy with it, then a bear, and I was like, oh, it's not that bad. And then I tried to do a cat in a sweater, but then I was like, oh, the bear looked nice, let's explore it some more. So here comes this page. If you follow me on Instagram, you might recognize some of these because I've turned them into tattoo flashes. So those 4 actually. But anyways, I decided to do a bunch of sketches of bears because they have a very fun body type, I find, and then outline them with a brush pen. We have one standing, a face, one's just sitting there, one that's here, and I wrote what you looking at because it had like a big butt, and then one last one that's just sitting there looking goofy. And then I wanted to have fun drawing somebody that's like riding a big bear, because bear mounts are fucking cool. Then we started to study heads. Those 2 things are very bad. Don't worry, it gets better. So we tried doing heads and skulls into different sizes and perspectives. So looking up, looking down, etc. I had fun adding some text. Where, for example, we have had some Squidward vibes. As you can tell, I was pretty bored in class and wanted to have fun. Then back to some gesture drawing, because we're never done with this. And here was the moment that I really struggled with, and was the first time I had a mental breakdown in class, basically. So we had to draw a zombie for one of our assignments, and they were like, it's Friday, last day, you need to sketch out your zombie and get your teacher to approve it so you can work on it and do the assignments at home, because it was like an A3 thing and all that. I had to get the sketch right and submit it to my teacher. So I did a first one, wasn't super happy with the pose, another one, and I was like, oh, that one's nice, let's work on it a bit more. And I decided to draw it on this page. And as you can see, the page looks very muddy and dirty. That's normal because I had to draw it 10 times to get it finally right. And my teacher kept telling me, no, but you're drawing in an angle. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean I'm drawing in an angle? She's like, well, your paper is like this and your vision is like this. You should put your paper in front of you. Like, for example, if it were to be a canvas. And I was like, I'm not drawing in an angle. Like, it's never affected me before. And I don't think that's my issue. Can you please rephrase? And she got mad at me for whatever reason. So anyways, this was a zombie design. It was horrible. Then this was when we had to do a character design of a population in history. So I decided to do some Native Americans where I wanted to do Cherokee. So that was the first pass of research. Then on this page I wanted to do more of like some life drawings, basically, where I saw people and decided to draw them. This actually became a print on my shop, which is Sir Bear. If you want to go check it out, the link is in the description. And then I did a little witchy cat. Then here was my second pass of research for my character design. where I wanted her to be a bit older, so have stronger like face features and wrinkles, and I wanted her to be an archer, so I gave her like a cool bow and stuff like that. And then I did some research on like the feathers that you put in the hair and all that, so that's for this part as well. Moving on to this spread with more arm studies, then some more figure drawing, and this time I wanted to study a bit more the back and the front of male torsos because I struggled still a bit with that, and I had a tendency to make them too blocky and muscular. Some more legs and then some faces. So I wanted to do the little grandma, and then I took some random portraits off of Pinterest and decided to draw those people out. Some more figure drawing and that's when I can feel that I was really like getting a better grasp at how it was working with all this practice. This is the main character of Queen's Gambit because I saw the show and I was like, oh, I'll just put that as a life study. So that's for her. And then we started to see how you can shade things. So it was some life drawings, but we barely had any time, and we had to just put like one solid dark shape, and the exercise was to be able to see where do you put the line of limitation between the shadows and the lights. Those were very, very quick figure drawings. Some more exercise with the shadow. And then we went back to some animals. So I had fun drawing a borzoi for those two. I find them so goofy looking. They're very cute. And then back to some more figure drawing. And this woman doing tennis. We did a lot of the figure drawings as exercises on Croquis Cafe and Line of Action, if you were wondering. And don't worry, I'll put the links of Line of Action and Croquis Cafe in the description of this video if you want. Then some more life drawing, a self-portrait, more portraits I'm actually pretty proud of. And that's about it. Okay, so I hope this video wasn't too long. I have no clue for how long I've been filming basically, and that if it was that you had fun at least. And yeah, so this was really fun to share with you guys because I really noticed how I've evolved in this sketchbook so much, because it was the moment where I was practicing the most since I just started art school. So I'm aware I've criticized art schools a lot, especially that I have a whole video explaining my experience. But I have to say that I recognize that I've evolved a lot and got a lot of improvements out of it, because it forced me to practice every day and all that. So if you want to get better, study the fundamentals, anatomy, values, shadows, color, perspective, and etc. So do make sure to practice every day and do not be discouraged because we'll get there eventually. That's about all that I have to say. I hope you liked this sketchbook. I'm basically halfway done on this one, so I'm taking a lot more time since I've been drawing a lot more digitally now, but I'm halfway done on this one, so I'll keep you posted, and I'll anyways make a video once this one is done. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe, comment down below whatever you want, like this video, all that fun jazz. You can also check out my Instagram if you want to see like more content and more of my art, because I post every single day there. And yeah, see you next week on Monday, same time. And yeah, tschüss!